Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanamsari Jamuna Tira Vanamsari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanamsari Jamuna Tira Vanamsari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shiraboy Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Charya Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada Ki Namasarya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jainitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakan Sanagaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Shaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and the loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya,
Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Śrī Advaita Gadadhara,
Śrī Advaita Gadadhara,
Śrī Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Śrī Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha,
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha,
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukham karoti vācālam pāgum langāyate girim yatkripa tamaham bandhe Sri Gurum Dinataranam, yatkripa tamaham bandhe Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 10, entitled Departure of Lord Krishna for Dvārakā. Today, text number
7.
Yes, text number 7. Uṣitvā
Uṣitvā
Hāstinapure
Hastināpure
māsān
Svasuś
katipayān
katipayān
hariḥ Sridham
Sridham
ca
ca
viśokāya
viśokāya
svasuś
svasuś
ca
ca
priya-kāmyayā
priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā hāstinapure
uṣitvā Hastināpure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ
Sridham ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā hāstinapure
uṣitvā Hastināpure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ
Sridham ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā hāstinapure
uṣitvā Hastināpure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ
Sridham ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā Hastināpure
uṣitvā Hastināpure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ
suhṛdāṁ ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā Hastināpure
uṣitvā Hastināpure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ Sridham
Sridham ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś priya-kāmyayā
svasuś ca priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā Hastināpure
uṣitvā hāstinapure
māsān katipayān hariḥ
māsān katipayān hariḥ
Sridham ca viśokāya
Sridham ca viśokāya
svasuś priya-kāmyayā
svasuś priya-kāmyayā uṣitvā Hastināpure māsān katipayān hariḥ suhṛdāṁ ca viśokāya svasuś priya-kāmyayā
uṣitvā Hastināpure māsān katipayān hariḥ suhṛdāṁ ca viśokāya svasuś priya-kāmyayā uṣitvā Hastināpure māsān katipayān hariḥ suhṛdāṁ ca viśokāya svasuś
priya-kāmyayā uṣitvā staying Hastināpure in the city of Hastināpura māsān okay, yeah, māsā and māsān months, not weeks, months.
Yeah, months, many months.
Months means many months.
Yeah,
Yes.
māsān means many months,
Yes.
not only 1 month.
Yeah. Days, weeks, months. Masa is 1 month.
Yeah, māsān means many months.
Yes. Like Damodar Masa
Only 1 month. Damodar.
coming up. Yes. Okay. We're learning a little Sanskrit here. Katipayān. A few. Hariḥ. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Sridham. Relatives. Cha. Also. viśokāya. For pacifying them. Svasuś. The sister. Cha. And priya-kāmyayā. For pleasing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Sridham Prabhupada ki. Śrī Hari, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, resided at Hastināpura for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister, Subhadrā. Kindly repeat after me. Śrī Hari, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, resided at Hastināpura for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister, Subhadrā. Purport. Krishna was to start for Dvārakā, his own kingdom, after the battle of Kurukshetra, and Yudhishthira's being enthroned. Oh, okay. Let's start this again. Krishna was to start for Dvārakā, his own kingdom, after the battle of Kurukshetra and Yudhishthira's being enthroned. But to oblige the request of Maharaj Yudhishthira and to show special mercy to Bhishmadev, Lord Krishna stopped at Hastināpura, the capital of the Pandavas. The Lord decided to stay especially to pacify the aggrieved king, as well as to please Subhadrā, sister of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Subhadrā was especially to be pacified because she lost her only son, Abhimanyu, who was just married. The boy left his wife, Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit. The Lord is always pleased to satisfy his devotees in any capacity. Only his devotees can play the parts of his relatives. The Lord is absolute. Translation again. Śrī Hari, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, resided at Hastināpura for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister, Subhadrā. Here the word Sridham is translated as relatives. Sridham, yeah. Sridham, we find also in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Sridham Sarvabhutanam Gyatvamam Shantim Risiti. Sridham is also translated as befriending or
Near to heart, suhṛdāṁ.
near, yes, near to heart.
Near to heart.
Hridaya, Ridhi, heart. So Krishna, he is especially Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He is a well-wisher, the friend, the best well-wisher, the best friend of Sarvabhutanam, of all living entities. And especially, Krishna also has relatives. Usually we are friendly with everyone, but we have a special affection for those who are closer to us in terms of bodily relation. So Krishna's sister Subhadrā, she was, of course, like any mother who loses her only son, Abhimanyu, who was still very young, who had just gotten married, who was just married, and who was, we know, very valiant in the battle of Kurukshetra, and he was unfairly defeated, as we know, by big warriors who actually had a hard time dealing with him because he was such powerful, even though very young. He was trained as a real Kshatriya. So, although Krishna has his own place, his own kingdom in Dvārakā, he took some extra time at the request of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and also to pacify, to actually pacify. Here it mentions the king. So there were two kings. There's the previous king, Dhritarashtra, who also needed to be pacified. We read that recently, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And of course, Yudhishthira Maharaj was taking up this new position, this new responsibility. So for these, for the pleasure of his devotees, the Lord will, we could say, spend extra time or go out of his way to actually please his devotees. So in other words, it is not at all unnatural to show or to have and to demonstrate also affection in the feelings for those who are close to one another. And that ultimately is the basis of Krishna consciousness, isn't it? To develop, to gradually, we could say, unveil or revive, to revive our original transcendental feelings and emotions, ultimately for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So therefore, Krishna showed by personal example, demonstrated how in moments of grief, because in the material world, the whole material world is a kingdom of grief, we could say, is a place where there is constant upheavals and which bring all kinds of sorrows and anxieties to the conditioned souls in the material world. And the remedy which is recommended, the only what is called solace. What is meaning of solace? Solace means to bring. Solace means to actually remove anxiety. It's like solace is connected with shelter. The devotees of the Lord, those who are actually devotees of the Lord, their only shelter actually is Krishna, Krishna's lotus feet. And to those devotees who are fully surrendered to the Lord, then the Lord feels obligated, and He reciprocates. Reciprocation. Just like there's a natural reciprocation between a mother and a child, because the child is totally dependent, isn't it? A child cannot survive without the care and attention and the love and affection from his mother. So Prabhupada explains actually that this is meant to be our, it actually is our position, we just don't understand. That we are also like small children, meant to be dependent, meant to develop that dependency on Krishna. Solace, did you find what is meaning?
Comfort in sorrow.
To comfort, eh?
Yes, to comfort.
Comforting, yes, yes.
Comfort in most misfortune condition.
Yes.
Sorrow condition.
Yes. So actually, in this material world, it is only, no one can fully give comfort. No one can give the best comfort and the best, we could say, relief from suffering and anxieties than Krishna. He is the one actually who can, when one fully surrenders to Him, then He actually helps to remove all types of fears and anxieties. Therefore, bhaja hurimana srinandanandana abhaya sarandara vindare. When we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, we develop this abhayam, fearlessness. Otherwise, yes. So, similar to Lord Ramachandra, who was exemplifying this same type of mood and mentality. Therefore, all the residents or all the inhabitants were fully surrendered to him and fully happy and satisfied under his rule and within his kingdom. So here that is being explained, that the Lord is being very very caring and very affectionate actually to his devotees. He on the request of Yudhishthira Maharaj extended his stay. Similar thing happened actually when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. You can just imagine Lord Chaitanya, for many years, especially after receiving initiation, he became like a transformed personality. And he had so many friends and so many relatives here in Navadvip. And then kind of like without any prior notice, kind of like suddenly like that, he took sannyas. He didn't. It was a big secret. And everyone, that's nicely described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, everyone was totally devastated. Didn't know what to do. They were totally, in full lamentation. And he left in the dead of the night, right? That's all nicely described. Without anyone knowing, of course, Mother Sachi, she was totally, she couldn't say anything, and she was totally stunned. So when the news came that Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas, just a few of the very close associates, Nityananda Prabhu and a few others, they actually went to where Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas. And then Lord Chaitanya was in a very, it's like when you leave home. I mean, leave home permanently, not just for holiday. Or when you decide to leave the material world. Becoming a devotee means we're deciding to leave the material world. It's like a major decision. It's a major decision. It's probably the most major decision that one makes in one's whole life. And not everyone will support you. Because you're my son, because you're my cousin, because you're this bodily relation. So when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, it was a big shock. And for 3 days, he was like, just a few people knew what was going on. And he was in a trance. Isn't it? Lord Chaitanya was in a trance. He was like in a samadhi kind of state of mind, because at that time, his only thought, his only desire, let me go to Vrindavan. He took sannyasa, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. And there's a whole story, but for 3 days he was wandering in different places. And he was being followed actually in secret by Nityananda Prabhu and a few others. And they were telling some of the cowherd boys, one person is coming. If he's asking, where's Vrindavan, you show him this way. Because he thought, he was thinking, if I follow the Ganga, then I will end up in Vrindavan. So in this way, he was actually misdirected to go to Shantipur. And in Shantipur, actually somehow Advaitacharya, who lived at that time in Shantipur, Advaitacharya was on a boat. At that time the Ganga was passing close to Shantipur. He was sitting in the boat, and Lord Chaitanya was walking on the side. He was following the Ganga, and he thought he was told this is the Yamuna. Oh. And then Advaita, he called him, Mahaprabhu, come. And then Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu said, Advaita, what are you doing in Vrindavan? So anyways, he got on the boat, crossed over to Shantipur, and there, in the next few days, actually, the news came that Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur, and so all the devotees, including Satyamata and all of the close associates of Lord Chaitanya, they came, and naturally they had like big festival, and ultimately everything was adjusted. Mother Sachi, who was greatly aggrieved, accepted that, okay, previously I lost my other son, Vishwarup, who had taken sannyas. Now my only son I have now is also taking sannyas. She was comforted, she was solaced. And then, similar kind of situation, Mahaprabhu was requested, no, you have to stay a little longer in Shantipur. And so his stay in Shantipur was prolonged because similar kind of situation, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very, very close, naturally. Normally, family members are very close. Kali Yuga may be a little different. In Kali Yuga, we get all kinds of mixtures, and colors. But generally, a family that's a bit together, the members will be very, we call close-knit, Oh, my son, my daughter, my mother, whatever, my brother. So that kind of course, for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or for Lord Krishna, it's not simply due to bodily relation, but that was also there in terms of being related. There's family relation, family ties were there. But both in the context of Lord Krishna here, in terms of preparing himself to go back to Dvārakā, or in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was, we could say, preparing himself to go to Jagannath Puri. The main theme, of course, and the main focus was on establishing and deepening actually spiritual relationships, because those ordinary mundane relationships that we have with our brother or sister or mother, father, that is, in the material world, that is all temporary, very temporary. And therefore, devotees are more interested in establishing relationship on the spiritual platform, because spiritual relationships are eternal, isn't it? So that's why, when we establish relationships amongst devotees, these are eternal relationships, because devotees, we're all going back at the same place. We're all, our destination is Goloka Vrindavan. So, because we want to go where Krishna is. And Krishna, he eternally resides and never leaves, actually, Goloka. Yeah, even when he comes here in the material world, he takes Goloka with him. He manifests Goloka, isn't it? Which is non-different. This Bhoma Vrindavan is non-different from the original Goloka. So this whole display of suhṛdāṁ, that's also nicely explained. That is foremost quality or feature of devotee. Titikṣava karunika suhṛdāṁ sarvadehinam. Same message. Suhṛdāṁ sarvadehinam. Suhṛdāṁ sarvabhutanam. Same. The Lord is the well-wisher of all living entities. Is the most intimate friend of all living entities. Similarly, one who actually becomes a devotee, a Vaishnava, also is meant to display, to develop the same type of mood and mentality of being conscious, of being concerned, of being affectionate, of being friendly, of being well-wisher, also to all living entities. And what is the best way to be someone's well-wisher as a Vaishnava, as a devotee? What is the best way we can be well-wisher to all living entities?
Do seva.
Huh?
He said do seva.
Do seva. Yeah, it's the
Preach to people and give Hare Krishna mantra.
yes, is to introduce them to Krishna, to reconnect the the fallen conditioned souls, to reconnect them, to reawaken, isn't it? To reawaken them to their original position, their original nature, their original relationship, eternal relationship with Krishna. So that's why it is, once we come to Krishna consciousness, if we actually understand, then we cannot leave. Sometimes people want to leave. But how you can leave? If you have understood, that I'm eternal, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are the eternal servants of Krishna. So that is what we are trying to revive. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, they very nicely demonstrated in their leelas, in their pastimes, how to interact, how to be, sensitive, how to be sensitive to the actual needs of all living entities. Yeah. So we will see from the next text how, after spending some time, same also not only in Shantipur, we just started yesterday reading the chapter 16, huh?
Yes.
Madhya Lila, that the attempts of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan. So in the same, Mahaprabhu had the same mood. He was like begging the devotees, he was trying to get permission from the devotees. He doesn't need to take permission, but he was in that, to please his devotees. Can I have permission to go to Vrindavan? Will you be so kind as to give me your blessings and your permission so that I can go to Vrindavan? And the devotees were, we just started, they were giving, should wait for this time. And then when this time came, like it was during Kartik, a very good time. Then they said, no, Kartik actually, when Kartik came around, then they said, no, Kartik actually, Vrindavan starts to get cold, so it's not a good time to go. So like this, they give different excuses. Simply for keeping, to keep Lord Chaitanya longer with them in Jagannath Puri. Okay, any questions or thoughts on this?
If a person want to take sannyas
A person wants to take sannyas.
in brahmachari, there is many problems in his past lives to become a sannyasi. How we can deal with the problems?
In Kali Yuga, we're not supposed to take sannyas.
Different.
In Kali Yuga, we're not supposed to take sannyas. The sannyasi is telling you this. Actually, in the Gita Nagari essay, still very few people know about Gita Nagari. Prabhupada speaks about sannyas. What does he mention there? He's advising that actually we will train our young boys in the Gurukul to become householders. We will not encourage people to remain brahmacharis or sannyas because it's very difficult in Kali Yuga. Very, very difficult. And there's injunction is there actually. We should not perform different types of jagyas like Ashwamedha jagya, and we should not also take sannyas. So then the question is, well, why? Why some people are taking sannyas? Why Mahaprabhu took sannyas? Isn't it? Why Srila Prabhupada took sannyas? Why there's a sannyasi giving class? So it's a high risk kind of situation or decision, and it is generally at this particular time not so much recommended. But your question was, yeah, because all living entities, the vast majority of living entities in the material world, we carry so much of bad karma, bad luggage from previous lifetimes. It's your question. How can we get rid of all this bad karma and take sannyas? We can all take sannyas, as Mahaprabhu, Krishna rather, in the Bhagavad Gita speaks about sannyas yoga. We don't need to necessarily take the external dress of sannyas with danda. What is more important is to understand what is called sannyas yoga. What is sannyas yoga? The spirit of detachment, which can be practiced in any ashram, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Everyone, regardless of one's position, should develop this mood of detachment. And how to develop this mood of detachment, that's also in the Bhagavatam. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayada Haitukam. Vairagya, detachment. Those who take up to the process of bhakti, within that practice, built in within bhakti is vairagya and jnana, detachment and knowledge. So we don't have to separately endeavor to develop detachment or to cultivate knowledge. Knowledge automatically will come, because knowledge, actual knowledge, especially transcendental knowledge, and sometimes even material knowledge, material understanding, comes by the by the mercy of Krishna ultimately. Who that's also in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavat tattva vijnanam evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam. So bhagavat tattva means knowledge, realization. Vijnanam, which is actually the real knowledge, real science. Not just ordinary jnanam, but vijnanam. So that is what this process of bhakti brings us to, this vijnanam. Proper vijnanam is also known as, or understood as, proper application of knowledge, isn't it? We cultivate knowledge, and then how to apply that knowledge, that is vijnanam. How to demonstrate that we're not this body, that we're not fearful, like that.
Maharaj, if you say that sannyasa is not for Kali Yuga,
Yes.
and I hear from my Shiksha Guru that Vanaprastha is also not for the Kali Yuga. Vanaprastha ashram.
Vanaprastha.
Yes. So why we trying to establish Varna ashram? Because the two ashram is gone.
Yes, 50%.
Why we trying to establish ashram? Then everyone takes grihastha ashram.
Yes.
So what the need of ashram? The Varna is okay. What the need of ashram?
Prabhupada said 50% of my mission is yet to be established. So, although it is not that Vanaprastha is only for, is not for all the ashrams. I mean, not for all the varnas. Vanaprastha is only for Brahmana and Kshatriya, not for others. And sannyas, although not recommended, we have so many examples of personalities who have taken sannyas, although it is, that injunction is there. So, in other words, sannyas is meant to be, can be taken, but strictly for the primary purpose, actually, of preaching the message of the Lord. So, so obviously, our more recent acharyas, beginning from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur up to our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, and the Shastra themselves also speak of the importance and the need to establish Varnashram. So although that injunction is there, we need to understand it. I've not read, I've not seen how Vanaprastha is not recommended for Kali Yuga. Based on the Varnas, one may accept or may not accept Vanaprastha. And sannyas generally is very, very rarely accepted, and primarily for the purpose of preaching, in, we could say, in the mood of Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise that means that Lord Chaitanya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, they all went against Shastra. Yes.
Maharaj, actually, here in this matter, sannyas.
Huh?
Actually, not clear in this about in this matter, sannyas.
What?
Actually,
What?
sannyas.
Sannyas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, not recommended by Shastra, sannyas in Kali Yuga.
Yes.
But many elevated soul and also Bhagavan Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Yes.
taken sannyas.
Yes.
But actually, it's not my question. Actually, is I want to
What
know
is the
about
question?
this matter. But why, how they are taken sannyas? Any process in Shastra?
Any process.
Any? No, don't know about that.
Well, it is not that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not know about Shastra. It is not that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was lacking in his knowledge of Shastra. Same thing with our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So they know about this injunction, but they also know that in some situation or circumstances, for the higher purpose of, we could say, an emergency, they accept sannyas. They have accepted sannyas.
Like I hear in Bhagavad Gita the words "Name parthasti kartavyam." Like I don't want to do anything, but I do for representing an example to my devotees to do what I do. Name
Yes.
parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. So did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set an example as take sannyas for us? So don't get attached to his family and get sannyas and go to Vrindavan, Golok.
Yes. Means that we should take sannyas only if we are what is called
Spiritual growth.
dead serious. You know, you know what it means? Dead serious.
No, I don't know.
No. What's the translation in dead serious? Dead means already something quite serious. Dead serious means it's an expression that means very, very determined, very, very serious, dead serious. Well, it's probably, you cannot translate that, right?
Bahut gambhir. Yes.
Bahu?
Bahut gambhir.
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 Gambhir, right? That means like really something deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bahut means deep. Gambhir means serious.
Gambhir means serious, huh? Yeah. So you got it, that's serious. Yeah. Prabhupada, for example, he did things that are against the Shastra. In the Shastra it mentions that sadhus should not cross over the ocean. Some sampradayas in India, they still follow this. They will not travel to the Western countries.
Like Maharaj ji is taking Kshetra sannyas. He is not good from the Vrindavan.
Yeah, they're different like that. But Kshetra sannyas is authorized. But in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, although we recognize that, it's like there are Babajis in Vrindavan, they are just preferring this kind of living and culture. From what we are receiving from Bhaktivinoda Thakur and transmitted through Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also in so many purports of Srila Prabhupada, although it is not against Shastra, but in the present context of where we find ourselves in modern day society, the emphasis needs to be on preaching, even though so many risks are involved. I mean, it used to be that when society was following Vedic culture, when society was following Vedic culture, everyone was wearing tilak or something on the forehead. So the injunction at that time was that if you happened to come across somebody who was not wearing tilak, you became contaminated and you had to jump in the Ganga. If we had to do that today, we would be spending all our time in the Ganga. Who's wearing tilak? Who's having, this culture, spiritual transcendental culture? Everyone, when we are not cultivating Krishna consciousness, when we're not following Vedic culture, then we're on the bodily material platform, and that is full of so much of what is it? The mind is extremely polluted, and we are engaged, majority of people, if we don't follow Vedic culture, we're engaged in all kinds of sinful activities. As soon as we leave the good association of devotees, Maya is so strong, will allure us to all kinds of sinful activities. So therefore the importance of good, strong, regular sadhu sangha. Yeah. So we will stop here for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gauda Pimanande. It was not possible